Hi, I'm Nathan, and this is my story. Growing up, I lived in a Christian family, going to a Christian church, in a Christian house. As Christian as it gets. I gave my life to God when I was 5 years old because, well, everyone else had. Surely I should too, right? Once I'd done that, I remained part of the church on Sundays, but I never really lived like I was a Christian. I felt like I'd done everything I needed to do and was headed to heaven. What more did I need? Around the age of 16, my faith was finally tested when I got into a committed relationship with a girl from my college, which at the time I didn't know was unhealthy for me. Eventually, I used it as an excuse to pull away from church completely. I cut off every church friend I knew. I told my family to stop talking about God around me so often. Did almost everything I could to act like God didn't exist. Little did I know, this was the start of an important journey. I'd lived my whole life with God, so much so I never knew what life was like without Him. In my eyes, I hadn't truly lived because I'd always been a Christian, being held back. But now I was on my way to university, on my way to the lifestyle that I thought would finally free me. At least that's what I thought would happen. What happened instead was I met the hardest time of my life. I was draining my money, I was draining my physical health, and I was draining my mental health. I didn't want to reach out to anyone because I'd made the decision and I wanted to prove I could live on my own. Finally, in the Easter holiday, I cracked and broke down, abandoning university completely and staying home to work full-time in a coffee shop. I'd been without money a lot at university, so I thought if I could earn a bunch of money, that would be the perfect way to get myself back. But that didn't work either. So I began reaching out to old friends outside the church and found myself in a long-distance relationship with a girl in America. I made plans to see her and thought maybe this would be the thing to make me happy again. I booked myself a holiday and bought plane tickets for America to see her. But sadly, the relationship was not to be, and in December, I found myself with £500 worth of plane tickets and nowhere to go. My dad was kind enough to step in and reach out to people in a church in America who could house me so I could at least have a holiday, something I was repeatedly telling them I desperately needed. I told my parents, if something doesn't change on this holiday, I don't know what I'll do. I was at a breaking point. The only things stopping me from taking my life was knowing it would make my family sad and this one holiday. I felt like a dead man walking. So there I was, in America, desperately searching for something that would turn my life around, when the friend I was staying with, John, asks, "You coming to church on Sunday?" Every fibre of my being said no, told me to avoid it and run. Except I said yes. My mouth moved and the words came out whether I liked it or not. That Sunday I went to the church meeting and decided to cling to the back of the hall so people wouldn't really see me there, but God had already started working in my heart. The worship leader, Tom, came up and spoke something he felt God had shown him. A picture of a dusty, dried-up fountain, like you find in fancy gardens. He said he saw God's hand come down and touch it, and suddenly it sprung to life, water flowing freely and cleaning the dust away. He said God wanted to reach out to someone who felt dry and dead and bring them back to life. A message that Tom didn't know was the one thing I needed to hear in that moment. Finished by me hearing the voice of God tell me, "Nathan, I'm talking to you." The first time I'd ever audibly heard Him. In the Gospel of Luke, Jesus tells the story of the prodigal son. In it, He talks about the love of a father for his son, no matter how far he strayed. God doesn't judge you for what you've done. He doesn't care if you've spent your life with drink, drugs, relationships, any of it. What He wants is to meet you where you are and be a loving father. You can trust me on that one. What I'm trying to say through all this is that God loves you, no matter where you are in life. He took me away from the darkest days of my life, from the hardest circumstances I've ever been through. If you're willing to give Him a chance, to reach out to Him and accept Him into your life, He can and will do the same for you.